Hey there, I am Christina Johnson, Transformational Nutrition Coach, and I'm a private health coaching practice, Christina Johnson Wellness. Last week, I shared a video with you where I talked about some of my favorite tips to help you eat healthy while you're traveling. And so this week, I decided to do a part 2 to this topic where I'll share with you what I do before going on vacation and how I plan so that I can eat healthy while I'm traveling in as easy of a way as possible and stress-free of a way as possible and still enjoy my vacation. So if you have any road trips or vacations or traveling planned for the next few months, then this video is for you. I think you'll get a lot of great ideas on what you can do before you go on your vacation to make sure that you eat as healthy as possible. So I am curious though, what is one of your favorite go-to road trip snacks? So let me know in the comments. And whether it's healthy or not healthy, no judgment for me right now, but what is something that you just have to have when you go on a road trip? I'd love to hear that in the comments. And then if this information you think would be helpful for a friend or family member, would you just hit the share button or tag someone so that they can get this information as well? So if we haven't met before, like I said, my name is Christina Johnson, and I specialize in helping people create a healthy lifestyle and a healthy relationship with food so that they can lose weight, have more energy, and just feel more comfortable in their bodies. And because my focus is on helping people create a healthy lifestyle, a big piece of that is figuring out how do you eat healthy when you're not at home? So, how do you eat healthy when you're traveling or eating at a family member's house or at a restaurant? And so that's part of the reason why I feel like this topic is so important. So let's get started. And really what I personally do is I have a 3-part process that I will do before any trip or vacation. So I'm going to share that with you, give you some ideas of the different types of foods that I bring along, and feel free to ask any questions if there's anything that you have questions about in the comments, whether you're watching live or on the replay. Okay, so here's my first step that I always do. And this may seem a bit overkill to some people, but I'm a planner. And so I create a meal plan for my vacation. So just like I would if I were eating at home for a week, I create a day-by-day meal plan for every day on the trip. Whether I'm gone for a weekend or a week or 2 weeks, I list out, this is what I'll have for breakfast, this is what I have for lunch and dinner. Now, a couple things when I'm making this meal plan. First of all, I keep it as simple as possible. So I'm not planning elaborate meals when I'm on the road. So that's key number 1. And then if you watched last week's video with my travel tips, I mentioned that the way I approach it is to eat out once a day while I'm traveling and then either bring food along or get groceries for the other 2 meals. So when I'm making my meal plan, usually I have breakfast written out, lunch written out, and then dinner is when we typically eat out. But I'm also totally willing to be flexible with this meal plan. So if it works better in our day's schedule to eat out for lunch, then I just flip-flop lunch and dinner. So I recommend making a meal plan, making it for the entire time you're gone, but then also knowing in the back of your mind that it's flexible, that it may change while you're gone, and that's perfectly okay. So that is my first step that I do. And then I just bring that menu with me, whether it's in a notebook or on my phone. I make sure I have that with me on my vacation. Okay, then step number 2. And I should say step number 1, the meal plan, I try to do that several days before leaving on vacation because it alleviates some of that last minute stress. Then a couple days before I go on vacation, I'll go to the grocery store and just pick up what I need for the first 4 or so days of the trip, 4 or 5 days. And I'll get my groceries, and that's step number 2. And then the third step is usually the day before I go on vacation, I set aside 1 to 2 hours where I'll do some food prep. And during this time, here's kind of what I do. I usually like to make a breakfast that I can eat for the first several days of the trip. So personally, oftentimes we'll make like a big egg bake, cut it into individual servings, put that in the cooler, and then we'll just reheat that for 3, 4, sometimes 5 days on the vacation. Or another idea for a breakfast that you could bring along would be some kind of hash. So I'll take ground sausage, grated sweet potatoes, some cinnamon, coconut oil, mix it all together, cook it up, and then just take it with me in a cooler, and then each morning reheat a little bit for my breakfast. Hard-boiled eggs are another great breakfast option. You could do that with some chicken sausages that you throw in a microwave when you're on the trip. Protein shakes can be another good option. So choose one breakfast option and then make that the night before so you have it for a few days on your trip. Then during my food prep time, I usually also make some kind of lunch. So oftentimes we'll have a salad. So we'll grill some chicken or steak. I'll bring lettuce along and a salad dressing, some cut up vegetables, and then I can just throw the salad together when it's lunchtime. You could also, make some kind of stir fry or one pan meal that you would heat up and eat for lunch as well. And then for any travel day, one of the things that I like to do is in the morning, I will heat up something like a stir fry, put it in a small thermos and take it with us in the car so that when it's lunchtime, it's just really easy to eat it and you have a hot meal on the road. Plus it saves time because you don't have to find a healthy restaurant option while you're traveling. So that's kind of how I approach the meal prep part of it. Then the other piece that I just wanted to mention is when you're eating out. So for us, it typically tends to be dinner that we eat out, but it could be any meal of the day. And in the beginning, the first few years of eating this way, I would do some research in advance. So I would look online and find what are some healthy restaurants in the areas we're going to be. I'd even look at their menus and figure out, do they have gluten-free options? What are some healthy choices I could have? And that was really helpful because then when it was time to pick a restaurant, it was pretty easy. I probably already had a couple options in my mind. I will tell you that now, because I've been eating this way for so long, I don't really do as much of that research on restaurants ahead of time. Sometimes I'll just double check to make sure they have a gluten-free menu, but it really does get easier, and I feel pretty confident going to almost any restaurant anymore and being able to find at least something that's semi-healthy. But this research, that even applied to a few years ago. We went on a cruise in Alaska, and I called the cruise line and I asked them, are there gluten-free options? Are there dairy-free options? What kind of meals will be available? I just wanted to know in advance so that I could kind of mentally prepare and make sure that I would have options to eat. So doing a little bit of research for the times you're going to be eating out is really helpful. And then, let me look at my next tip here. My last tip would be that, let's say you're going on a longer vacation, maybe longer than 4 days. I would make your grocery list for the second part of the vacation and bring it with you. So for example, I'll make enough food and get enough groceries for the first 4 or so days. And then I have a list made for what I'll need for the next 4 or 5 days. And I have that grocery list made, I bring it with me. That way when we're traveling, I don't have to think through what do I need to pick up from the store? What are we gonna make? It's already all planned out. So I have that grocery list, and I will also look at where are we gonna stay around that 4 or 5 day mark? Will we have access to a kitchen? And so if we do, then I know that we can set aside maybe half an hour to put a little bit of food together for the next few days. So that's really helpful too. And I know that a lot of these tips, it does require a little bit more planning and thinking and effort before you leave on vacation. But I promise you, it makes your vacation so much less stressful and just easier because you know what you're gonna eat. You don't have to think about it. You're saving time. And honestly, for me personally, I don't feel good if I'm eating out 3 times a day every day. I just start to feel heavy or more bloated. And I feel like I'm not making the best choices. And so when I'm on vacation, I do want to eat out and try local foods, but I also want to feel good. And so I feel like this is just a really great way to have the best of both worlds, to do this planning in advance. So I'm curious, which of these tips are you most willing to try? What do you think would be helpful for you? You may not do everything that I recommended. That's perfectly fine. But is there something that you think would be helpful for you? So let me know in the comments which of the tips you think you would most like to try and that would be helpful for you on vacation. And then, if you haven't already liked my Facebook page, make sure you do that so that you get notified the next time I go live. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to my channel so that you get notified of future videos. And if you have any questions at all about eating healthy on vacation, be sure to post them on the comments, even if you're watching the replay, because I will come back and answer those questions Because honestly, I love to travel, and I think this is something I've had a lot of experience with over the last several years, and so I'd be happy to share any ideas on what has worked well for me with you. So feel free to put those in the comments. If there's anything else that I can do to support you on your healthy eating journey, feel free to reach out as well. I'm here to help you lose weight, have more energy, and just feel better on a day-to-day basis. So that is all I have for you this week. Have a wonderful week, and I'll talk to you again later.